Max Verstappen asked whether a journalist was trying to trap him. Isaac Hadjar talked about his relationship with the Red Bull family, and Pierre Gasly gave his honest thoughts about penalty points. Here is part one of the interesting things that we learn from the Austrian F1 drivers' press conference on Media Day. Starting with Hadjar, he said that they struggled with tyre degradation in Canada, however, it was by really close margins with the midfield, and overall he feels like the car is very consistent. Also, based on his answers, he wasn't really hiding the fact that he expects his natural progression within his career to mean that he's going to end up in the Red Bull F1 team. Moving on to Gasly, he said that the Alpine car isn't easy to drive, but it also isn't hard to drive. They know where their strengths and weaknesses are. But that wasn't all we heard from those two, because there were multiple questions from the floor that were being asked to all of the drivers. For example, they were asked about the racing guidelines that have been released to the public this week. I believe Gasly was saying that it is clear how hard you can race another driver, but at the same time these guidelines do help to reduce the grey areas. Hadjar basically said the same thing, and Verstappen basically said he had been too busy to notice they had been published, but they already know this stuff. Furthermore, they were all asked whether they think the penalty points should only be given if it is a truly dangerous move. And Gasly said that he isn't really a fan of it. After all, they're all professionals, and yes, they do push it to the limit, but at the same time, a race ban is rather concerning. A little while ago, he was in the position where he might have got a race ban, but at the same time, he didn't feel like his driving had been dangerous. And again, Hadjar said something quite similar, meanwhile Verstappen would not comment. Finally, they were all asked about the F1 movie and the premiere. Unsurprisingly, Verstappen said he hadn't watched it, and it seems like he won't be watching it unless it's on Apple TV. Hadjar said that he hopes it will put the sport into another dimension, like Drive to Survive did, and therefore it will benefit them. Whilst Gasly said that he really enjoyed it, and he had similar thoughts to Hadjar. Also, Brad Pitt said that Pierre Gasly is a potential future Hollywood star, and that made his mum very happy. Which leaves us with the Verstappen questions. When asked about Vettel potentially joining the team, he essentially said it's kind of to be expected that someone like him, with the history that he has with the Red Bull F1 team, would always have a spot at the Red Bull F1 team. Similarly, he was asked whether his penalty points will change the way he approaches this weekend, to which he replied, "You're joking. Is this like a trap? I get this question every single time, every weekend." And lastly, he was asked about comments that Perez had made on a podcast recently. Firstly, it was about the comments that he had made regarding the incidents that had taken place in 2022 between the two drivers, and he didn't believe that the way the journalist had worded what Perez had said was actually what Perez had meant. Also, he has a great relationship with Perez, and he's really looking forward to seeing him in the paddock soon, hopefully in Mexico. Secondly, Verstappen didn't want to comment on Perez saying that more problems started at the Red Bull F1 team after Newey left.